boys and girls, the ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. This is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And I absolutely loved the Gremlins movies as a kid, right? It was one of those situations where it was one of my first kind of like traditional horror movies that you would kind of think of in the past and stuff like that. I mean, between that and one other movie out there, it actually kind of essentially created like the PG-13 rating out there. And so you can credit Steven Spielberg and Chris Columbus for all of that kind of stuff out there. And obviously there's been rumors and speculations. Chris has been trying to get a Gremlins 3 made for years, boys and girls, and in an era when we're dealing with reboots and remakes and all this other kind of nonsense out there. Hearing about this announcement and hearing this finally come to fruition actually gets me excited for a couple of different reasons. For one, obviously, I love the Gremlins franchise. The cartoon wasn't even bad; it wasn't all that bad out there. But the first and the second one, I mean, Gizmo. I mean that second one with the guy with the super genius gremlin out there after he got in the water and everything else on him. I mean, God, that guy was just absolutely hilarious. The bat, the tray swapping, the original out there with all of its horror and the aspect of how scary these monsters actually were and the kind of things that they could do and don't feed him after midnight. The Mogwai, it was just so much fun out there, boys and girls. And so it's a wonderful franchise, and I'm actually really glad to hear that this one is coming back, because as of right now, I think we've got some very, very good reasons to be cautiously optimistic about this movie and what it all might entail, especially in an era where right now Warner Brothers has actually been doing a really bang-up job with a lot of its movies outside of some of the DC Universe stuff out there. Now, I still really enjoyed the Superman movie, but it did not make a profit. We found that out by their own earnings report out there that it technically lost money. But besides that, a lot of this stuff out there, I mean, we've got great successes with things like the Minecraft movie and that adaptation out there. We've got great success with the Barbie movie. Obviously, those things made $1 billion overall. So things have been going pretty good. Warner Brothers currently under David Zaslav has a halfway decent track record of doing things like this and actually pulling them off as successes and making the fans happy. And at the end of the day, any Gremlins fans that have been desperate for another installment into this universe in movie form is definitely going to want them to do this right. And considering everybody involved with this, it sounds like we might get exactly that. So we're going to share this article from geeksandgamers.com, getting all of the juicy details surrounding this announcement, as well as some of the past stuff that might hint at what the future of this movie entails. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2,300. We're inching our way towards 24. I think we're sitting at like 2,385 on our journey to 100K, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, there's a comment in the section down below later. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Do you hear a Gremlins sequel or a Gremlins kind of continuation out there and go, oh God, not with modern Hollywood? Or considering all the people involved in this, are you actually excited? Are you willing to give it a fair chance out there? Let us know what you think about all of that in the comment section down below. Now, to support the channel, please check the links in the description as well. All right, from geeksandgamers.com and Alex Gurzo. Gremlins 3 coming in 2027 with Chris Columbus and Steven Spielberg returning. Now, do you understand why I'm cautiously optimistic about this one, boys and girls? Although there's definitely been some stuff that Steven Spielberg's produced, executive produced over the last few years that are questionable, so we'll see what happens. Someone at Warner Brothers must have been fed after midnight, because Gremlins 3 has officially been greenlit with Christopher Columbus and Steven Spielberg returning. And yes, shout out to Alex for that one. Yeah, because you got to don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav announced the film at a quarterly earnings report. According to Zaslav, Steven Spielberg will produce Gremlins 3 as he did the first two, and Chris Columbus will co-write and direct it. Columbus wrote the first Gremlins, but sat out the sequel. So I, for one, am excited. I love both of those movies, so it really wouldn't matter which direction you're going to go in. The outrageousness of the second one and all the different crazy versions of the Gremlin and all that kind of stuff, or the more horror aspects you got in the traditional Christmas movie that you got with the first one out there. And yes, this absolutely is a Christmas movie. The father's literally trying to get a special gift for his son for Christmas, and that comes in the form of Gizmo, the absolutely adorable and wise exception of the rule for overall Gremlins out there, boys and girls. And as a guy that was in the Air Force, you know, Gremlins and all that kind of stuff is always, I was an aircraft mechanic. Right, Gremlins is one of them situations where you always hear about the Gremlin stories from like World War II and getting in the machines and, oh, something just ain't work. Well, I guess it was working just fine yesterday. Well, I guess the Gremlins must have got in it. So it's something else that I love and appreciate even more now as being an adult out there. So this is who all we've got involved. Zap Lipsky and Adam B. Stein, who previously wrote Final Destination's Bloodlines. I haven't seen, but I didn't hear anything overtly bad about it. I mean, it's another sequel to a horror movie. They're not exactly hard to get right if you leave all the activism nonsense out. And the live-action Kim Possible TV movie will co-write the script with Columbus. Gremlins 3 is set to arrive in theaters on November 19th, 2027. Now, given that's an awful long wait, but considering this just got announced, I mean, a year, that's really not bad. Essentially 2 years. They're going to spend all year next year working on this, getting everything together, right? Then probably shoot it early the next year, do all the editing and all that kind of stuff. 2 years really isn't all that bad, boys and girls. And with November, does that mean it's going to be Christmassy like all of the rest of them? We'll see. Gremlins, written by Chris Columbus and directed by Joe Dante, is a Christmas movie about the Peltzer family who buys a strange animal called a mogwai. In case for some reason you're not a fan of this franchise and somehow still clicked on this video, and if you did, thank you very much for being here. Let me know. With Billy Peltzer, Zach Galligan, the adult son, names Gizmo. A series of mishaps creates mogwai when they become monstrous creatures that wreak havoc on the small town during the Christmas season. Monsters Peltzer's next-door neighbor, Dick Miller, a World War II veteran, dubs them Gremlins. Which, like I said, if you know anything about the history of Gremlins in World War II, it makes perfect sense. And honestly, that movie is such a blast. The way everything ended, I mean, the grandma with the chair, with the automatic chair going up and down her stairs, right? I mean, for being over the top, I mean, yeah, it was, some of the stuff was horrifying, but at the exact same time, you laugh at some of the ridiculousness and the way the Gremlins take people out. It's just absolutely insane. And in the second one, in New Batch, it got even more over the top out there. Moving to New York City, where they once again find Gizmo to have to deal with a new army of gremlins. This time, the Gremlins take over a TV network office building and through experiments with chemicals, become various wacky versions of themselves, such as a spider gremlin and a bat gremlin, a plot element which has been widely mocked since. I don't care. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. The genius gremlin, I love it. It's kind of like when Evil Dead stopped trying to be an Evil Dead horror movie and decided to just go outrageous and over the top. I don't care. People might have criticized it. I still love it. I don't care. It was a blast. It was fun. So I don't care which way they go with this. I'm totally for it. I don't care if it was mocked. I loved these guys. I mean, come on. With our, the guy that ended up playing the doctor on Voyager, right, ends up at the end of the movie hooking up with the female gremlin, right, the one that got turned into the female by the chemicals. Absolutely. Hey, look, and it had transgender representation. What more could a modern audience ask for, boys and girls? Let's be honest. Columbus has been trying to get Gremlins 3 off the ground for some time, with the film being announced as in development seemingly every few years. In 2017, he teased a twisted and dark script for the sequel, which involved the notion of putting Gizmo down to prevent further Gremlins outbreaks. And I mean, you can see a government agency absolutely trying to come in and do this. I mean, at what point, especially after what happened with the building in New York, essentially, like the government's going to be aware of the Gremlins at this point, right? Little dark, little twisted out there. Whether that idea will be retained in the new version of the film is unknown, although it seems like it'd be right up the alley of the two guys who wrote a Final Destination movie. It's also unknown if Gremlins 3 will return to the Christmas set roots, but it's coming in November, so that makes sense. There's also no word yet on whether the series' lead actors, Zach Galligan and Phoebe Cates, will return. Galligan has been enthusiastic about a new Gremlins movie in the past, so his involvement is likely, and I think we would love to see that, right? Zach did a great job as the main protagonist in that movie. Of course, Phoebe Cates, lovely lady. She's kind of, it says right here, she might not likely be returning, but Galligan, I mean, I would love to see him come back, you know, as long as they don't do like the normal Hollywood trope of, well, he's a beaten and broken down drunk and Cates left him and yada, 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 yada. Let's hope they don't pull the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysentery route, right? So Cates retired from acting in the early 90s after marrying Kevin Kline to raise their children. By the way, love that. Respect the living absolute heaven out of that. I absolutely love that. So she's a bit of a toss-up. She did take part in the anniversary party in 2001 as a favor to somebody for Fat Times at Ridgemont High. Perhaps she'd step in front of the camera again for Columbus or Galligan or even Steven Spielberg. Fingers crossed. Let's hope so, boys and girls. I don't know what the lady looks like nowadays, but it doesn't matter. She's expected to be old. There's expected to be an older couple in this. Hopefully some grandkids running around. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I'm excited for it. Also, not to mention in Zaslav's announcement is whether Gremlins and Mogwai would still be puppets, as they were in the previous films. or they'll be created with CGI. In one of his previous attempts to make Gremlins 3, Chris Columbus said that the Gremlins would remain puppets, so his involvement suggests that this will be the case again. And honestly, considering all the backlash against really bad CGI and kind of like all the resurgence of puppets and physical effects and stuff like that, I can imagine Zaslav understanding that yes, you have to keep the Gremlins as physical puppets. If not, it's not going to work. I mean, that's what makes those movies ageless, right? You go back and look at CGI from that era, and there's a few things that kind of held up if they use it, but if they try to use it for entire creatures and stuff like that, it just doesn't hold up. It just doesn't stand the test of time. Physical puppets always do. That's why they still look good to this day and is still very believable. And that's something that's not going to change. So even a reason to do it even more. So the worry of the special effects is one thing that will surely have fans apprehensive about reviving yet another classic. And honestly, if they decide to go full CGI instead of absolute puppet mastery for the Gremlins, it's not going to go over very well. And you're already going to have yourself starting off at a very bad spot. So I don't think that's something we're going to have to worry about either out there. Hopefully with Christopher Columbus involved, this will be a celebrated revival and not a quickly forgotten cash in. And I really think that, I really do hope that ends up being the case. Right, because we've seen what's happened with that, right? We saw what happened with Tron Legacy, the most recent one that came out, Ares. A lot of the fans and the critics weren't big fans of that. That thing felt just more like nothing more than a cash grab versus continuation of the original source material out there, which with Christopher Columbus and Steven Spielberg returning, and then you've got the guys from Final Destination Bloodlines, I'm like, why not? Right? This all sounds good to me. And as you guys know my track record, I try to assess every project based on the people involved with it and what they're saying, right? Because how many times have we been able to figure out stuff by just believing what these people are telling us, right? Whether it be, activism, whether it be Eternals is going to save lives, or any of the rest of that kind of nonsense garbage, right? We hear this, we listen to them, we understand, and we take them at their word. It's the same reason why we understood that X-Men 97 was actually going to end up being good, right? Bo DeMeo was saying all the wrong things, and could he have been lying to us? Absolutely. But he didn't. And it turned out to be great, and a lot of fans loved it. And Kevin Feige's going to ruin it because he fired him, and the guy's jealous of the fact that Bo DeMeo did a better job. And at the end of the day, it's one of them situations where this is why we need to be cautiously optimistic. Right? This is why we need to assess things fairly, because we've got a lot of the original people coming back. And if you're a way bigger fan of the first Gremlins movie than you are of the second one, then this should put you over the moon. Columbus is back. Steven Spielberg's producing just like he did on the last one. And you've got a couple of guys from a halfway successful scary movie, which is at the heart of this, what Gremlins is, a scary movie, coming in to help out. So I don't know about you boys and girls, but I am cautiously optimistic. Everything about this sounds great. I'm excited for the Gremlins. And at the end of the day, Warner Brothers definitely seems to be a company that has done its best to try to turn itself around. They have learned from their lessons of dancing with the devil and trying to listen to all of these activists and using every IP they have as nothing more than a skin suit to push a message. And I don't think that's what's going to happen with Gremlins at all. Now, can they recapture the magic of the original or even of the sequel? I don't know. Is Steven Spielberg and Chris Columbus past their prime? Maybe. But we will find out. And as of right now, everything is looking in a very good direction. I, for one, am cautiously optimistic. So Steven Spielberg, David Zaslav, and Chris Columbus, you guys have announced this. You have gotten the fans excited. You have gotten us interested. The real question is, are you going to listen to us and make the smart decision and make us happy and respect the source material and respect the Gremlins that have come before? And please, for the love of heaven, we know you're not going to kill off Gizmo because he's the heart and soul of this entire thing, but please at least give us some good popcorn buckets and plushies for all of this, because at the end of the day, boys and girls, fans will decide whether or not this succeeds or fails, and if Warner Brothers, Zaslav, Columbus, and Spielberg are smart, they will listen to us and give us a very successful refreshment of a franchise in a Gremlins 3, which I, for one, boys and girls, cannot wait to see what happens with this. I love me some Gremlins, so do a good job and make the fans happy. A big shout out to all of our subscribers and members out there. Thanks for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe if you have not already.